Hi, I am healing Tiff. In December of 2017, I was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma with lymph node involvement. I was shocked. When I heard the news, I didn't believe it. I fell to my knees, I cried, I fell apart. I came together and tried to figure out how to tell my family. Told them. Over the next few days from that point, I went into survival mode. I started to research, started to look at other treatments, started to look at my options, what I had to deal with, what were the statistics, as if statistics really matter in the whole grand scheme of me. But I did look at statistics, and I knew it was a grim diagnosis, not the thing you want to hear, ever. When I first got diagnosed, they did this through what's called a needle biopsy. I had an abnormal mammogram and then an ultrasound, and then they sent me for a needle biopsy. During the needle biopsy, they position you where the part of the body that's going to be biopsied is accessible to the physician. For me, I was laying on my right side with my arm over my head where my breast was exposed. He cleared off, he disinfected the area and prepped it, surgically prepped it. He took a needle, which has a catheter size in there, so there's a hole, so when it punctures the skin, it actually traps tissue in it. When it traps the tissue, that's what they send off, that tissue sample is what they send off for your needle biopsy. They did one on my lymph node, which during the ultrasound showed that the hilum was missing, and so they biopsied that. They did one pass of that. The next, where my lump was, which is the upper quadrant here, the physician, he took 4 passes. So he poked the needle with my grape-sized tumor 4 times. When he did that, he completed it, and he said that he needed to put some markers where he took those biopsies. So he put 2 little metal things that look like little metal Tic Tacs into those areas so that the surgeon would know where those biopsies were taken. I allowed him to do that. And when he sat me up after he did a basic little dressing, and he sat me up, and he said it's pretty much standard procedure for me to go now to do a mammogram in the next room. I have medical background, and I did not even question this because it was standard procedure. I go in, and it was not like the mammogram that I had been previously exposed to. This one was where they take 2 plastic platforms and they smash it very tight in very awkward positions where at some points I was on my tippy toes. I had a lot of pain with this mammogram compared to the first one I had had. So they poked my grape-sized tumor, making the outside able to be open, and then they smash it like a grape. So if you smash a grape 4 times, you poke it with a fork, and then you smash it, the inside comes out. From that day is when I started having swelling, pain in my nipple. It actually more affected my entire breast instead of just having an isolated lump. Now I felt like it was everywhere. So I was struggling with that until I got those results, and that led me up to that phone call from that needle biopsy when they diagnosed me. I still am struggling with the swelling and the different areas of the breast now that have started after that needle biopsy. And you know, it is standard procedure for women to be done this way for these mammograms and these needle biopsies all across the country. There are multiple women that I have met that have had extreme complications directly from the needle biopsy itself. I urge you to just go into this knowing what you're looking up against, and you know your patient rights, and know that if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it. seek a surgeon, seek other medical advice, and find a surgeon. You do not have to do the mammogram after they poke your tumor. Just know that as a patient, and I wish I would have stood up for myself and said, no, I didn't know. I walked right in not knowing what I was dealing with. These are just things that I have learned with my care and my experience. I am not here to give medical advice. I have no right to give medical advice. I am here just expressing what has happened to me, what I have gone through, what I have chosen to do, who my care team that I put together, my decision for my care, that I have taken control of my care. And I will live with my consequences for my care, my family, and everything will have to, that's what I will have to live with, or die with, I guess, and the reality of it. It is now February. I have been to an oncologist. Right after the needle biopsy, I set up an appointment with an oncologist and a naturopathic medical doctor. I met with the oncologist first. He was very aggressive. He told me that if I didn't do chemo, I was going to die. He threatened my husband and said if I didn't do chemo, he was going to lose me. He refused to any of my suggestions of any other kind of treatments. He just wanted to do chemo, then surgery, and then chemo. I had told him I know that there's a test that they can do on my tumor to even see what my benefits would be from chemo. He said he will do that after he does chemo. I do a round of chemo, and then they'll do the surgery. Then they'll test my tumor, and then they'll finish up with more chemo. I said no chemo until I know. So I sought a second opinion on a surgeon. After I then went to my naturopathic doctor, who actually referred me to a couple of other surgeons in the area where I traveled to get what I feel is my best care, what I feel comfortable with. When I arrived to the naturopathic clinic, it was shortly right after I had met with that oncologist, so my husband and I felt like our spirits were crushed and that we didn't have much to go for. It was tough. We were sitting in the waiting room at the naturopathic doctor, and there was a couple other patients, and one had walked in talking to the other one that had been sitting by me and my husband, and told her that she was in remission and that she had just finished her last treatment and that she was going into maintenance. I needed to hear that so bad at that time, and I squeezed my husband's hand. Excuse me, sorry. And the patient recognized that I was sitting there and that I was fighting back tears. She gave me a big hug and she just said, she told me her story. She was very young, and she overcame vulvar cancer, and she had that combined with an autoimmune disease, which was attacking her own body, was attacking its own skin. She had completed 3 months of treatments at this clinic and went into remission, along with her diet and other regimens that they do. I was very thankful and hopeful at that point. I met with a naturopathic doctor. She gave me options. She personalized my care, where I didn't get that with the first oncology surgeon, who really just said, we have one way and that's it. And he didn't accept me as an individual. This care was holistic. I had different options that I could address, different techniques that I was able to use. My care plan is individualized to me. One thing that you will learn if you ever go and sit in a naturopathic infusion room is that everybody in that room, their cancer is different. Every person has to approach their cancer in the best way for them. Some mix combination of conventional therapies. Some don't do any conventional therapies at all. For me, the best thing that I have done, that I found, is I went to a conservative surgeon. She removed one lymph node that definitely had cancer. She saw another one in there that looked suspicious. She went ahead and took that at the time of surgery. She removed the lump. We did a lumpectomy. And when she got the pathology reports back, she gave me an immediate call. And unfortunately, I had 5 out of the 6 margins were still positive. So she had to go back in on the lump and remove those margins. The one lymph node did test positive for cancer, but it had negative margins all around it. And the second one did not have cancer in it. It just looked suspicious. I felt better after my surgery. Even the first one, when it wasn't all the way clear, I had this wet cough that I had was, lingering, and I guess I really kind of just ignored it. And right after surgery, even in recovery, I realized I could breathe better. It wasn't a wet cough, so I pretty well started feeling pretty good right away. When I went back to the clinic between the first 2 surgeries, I started on my high vitamin C infusions along with it has sodium bicarb in it, which is oxygenated to bring more nutrients to the cancer cells that they don't like. They like anaerobic areas. They can thrive in it, and they love sugar. So my diet consists of no sugar at all. I have completely cut out gluten for me. Everybody at the clinic, there's a diet that their doctor will put them on. For me, I went with the Mito diet. There are several people there right now that I know are on the ketogenic diet, and they swear by it. I will use some ketogenic recipes, but I am on the Mito diet. For me, that works. But one thing that's clear, no matter what diet you go on, it is no sugar. Cancer cells thrive on sugar. They have to have it. And I'm going to starve my cancer, so I read every label. I have to make a lot of my own foods. I buy special things so that I can make sure that it's gluten-free, sugar-free. It's hard to eat out, but there are, in a bigger city, you can have better options. And it's not, none of the recipes are hard to really do. I do them. And I wasn't a baker, so I'm learning though. What else I can say is that in combination with everything that I am receiving at the clinic, which is my high vitamin C infusions that I do 3 times a week that have other anti-cancer properties in them, I do 3 tinctures a day, which are herbs that my naturopathic doctor has put together for me, and I mix them in with my matcha tea 3 times a day. I also am taking a supplement of vitamin A and vitamin D. There are reasons for taking those 2 in some of the books that I'm reading, and it kind of helps me support myself holistically to surround myself with other readings to help support my path to healing. And when I say to healing for me, I am not going to accept anything less than being 100% cancer-free, and I don't want it back. I want one and done. One and done. That's the goal here. Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about is holistically, I have found some reading. There is Susan Summers. She went through breast cancer herself. She's actually quite amazing. She has a couple of books. This one is Breakthrough. It kind of addresses a whole lot of things, not just one area. She also makes one that is actually for cancer, and I have read a little bit of that. That is available at my clinic. I need to get a copy of that one to start reading. Another that I am reading is actually called Radical Remissions. This is an amazing book. Oh my goodness. I love her approach. She is a doctor who actually wanted to know why this was happening. What were these people doing to be radically remitted? They were sent home, told that they had nothing else that they could do for them, and they were sent home to die. And they come back cancer-free, and she investigated it. A lot of really good things in this book. My hero, my own personal reason why I am where I am today, is actually a book by Colleen Huber. She wrote the manifesto for cancer patients. There is her own studies and research in this as well. And it also kind of explains to follow the money and see why we kind of lose touch with individual patient care. And there are, one thing we are supposed to live by is do no harm. And unfortunately, some people out there, when you are diagnosed with cancer, you have to protect yourself from people who do not care. And they don't care about you as the patient, you as the individual. You are an individual person. You have a specific cancer. You have a specific way of beating that cancer, and you are the one that has to be comfortable with your treatment. Very good book. Very good person. Next thing is spiritually, I also read the Bible when I can, and I kind of follow it along with my guide here, which kind of directs me to which areas I need to read. But this is actually a daily guide post. It's a spiritual lifting devotional. So for me, this kind of helps me with that. And in addition to this, these readings, I also do yoga and meditation. Meditation is very important. I do a lot of meditation during my hyperbaric treatments. So I find that I get that oxygen that's under pressure, that's kind of pushing through my body, along with pushing that treatment farther in. And I visualize in my mind my cancer dying, the cells actually being popped, like a little balloon, you know. But for me, that's what I do. One key part, if there's nothing else that you can see, is that on this radical remissions, she points out the 9 key factors. Radically changing your diet, taking control of your health, following your intuition, using herbs and supplements, releasing suppressed emotions, increasing positive emotions, embracing social support, deepening your spiritual connection, and having strong reasons for living. I feel like I have a very strong reason to live. You know, I have a beautiful family. I have a great support system. My immediate family is amazing. My extended family is great. My coworkers back home, I miss you guys. Can't wait to be back. Anyway, and I have surrounded myself with an amazing care team that is helping me beat this. And I've also met some amazing people in the Cancer Infusion Clinic. It's quite an awesome experience, actually. I've met some of the best people that I don't think I would have had the pleasure to meet. So there has been opportunity. I wish I could tell you that every day is a great day and better than the day before. Unfortunately, that's all of us who have cancer or have dealt with cancer know that that simply is just not true. No matter what treatment plan and no matter what you do, there is always bad days. There are always days that are good. It just seems like you take it one day at a time and stay hopeful. And for me, you know, I have learned to accept my treatment path by knowing that I am happy where I'm at. If I am only given 5 years, and I choose to live it this way of my treatment, I can deal with that. But to live where I'm sick all the time and that I'm doing chemo, my hair's gone, my cardiac cells are suffering, I can't swallow, I have to get a feeding tube. For me, that is just not dying, and I don't want to live like that. So I made that decision early on in my treatment that I'm okay with that. And I do feel like I am in the best place and that I am getting the best care for me, my individual cancer. I'm happy and I'm thriving. I feel like I'm winning. I'm downgraded from invasive ductal carcinoma to just DCIS. So now I am working to overcome that every day, every week, you know, and I can go for a walk, and I'm happy. I can do yoga. I can tolerate, you know, getting myself bathed in the morning. I can eat. I'm not sick. I am more a healthier approach. So for me, that was big. And I'm not saying out there to everybody that you need to do this, but I think, like she says in Radical Remission, she makes a very good point, is we sympathize with your oncologists who say, don't tell the patients out there what you did to get better. Don't tell them. Don't give them false hope. I agree with that. I don't want to give anybody false hope. But I also agree with where the author says it is much worse if you keep quiet. It's not you're creating something far worse by not letting people know that there's other things out there. And if you read in Dr. Huber's book, she points out there are a lot of other treatments. Every treatment other than chemo has been shot down, and there is a reason for that. Follow the money, follow the money, follow the power. It's a lot like cigarette companies, and we were trying to expose them for decades. And they had the power to destroy all these doctors who had all the evidence, to corrupt their evidence, to, you know, it's out there, unfortunately, and it's scary. But as a patient, make your best decision for you. You have to be empowered. You are the one that has to live with your treatments. You are the one that are going to have to live with the side effects, and you are the one that's going to have to accept if you're going to live long or short. It's all, everybody is individual. It is not a template patient. Nobody is a template patient. And I really hope, if nothing else, that that point is across. You know, it doesn't hurt to look and see what else is out there. For me, I went to a naturopathic oncology medical doctor, and when I got my results back from my tumor, it showed that I would have only gotten a 6% benefit from chemo, so it looks like I made a pretty good decision for myself. My intuition that I had to have followed to be true. I know I'm not out of the woods, and I am not saying that I am in remission or any of that. I have a battle that's very real, very, very real. I take it very seriously. I have a lot of reasons to live. I have a lot to fight for. And so that's where I am. And I hope that this first viewing is a good video. If you enjoyed it, great. I will have more to come. If not, you don't have to leave any negative comments. Just you know, do your thing, and I'll do my thing, because I'm not going to tell you what you can do, and you shouldn't tell me what I can do. So God bless everybody out there. Thank you.